Alright folks, you should be on page 62 in your notes. What we're going to do first is read through and highlight some important stuff. Then we're going to set up a foldable, and then we'll go through the presentation of the information that you'll need to fill in. But let's read through these notes first. You have recently talked about the Virginia General Assembly and how it's a legislative branch of the state of Virginia. You've also talked about the lawmaking process for the Virginia General Assembly, which is very similar to that of our national government in Congress. What we're going to look at today are 5 main concerns of our Virginia General Assembly. So 5 main things that they make decisions on. Let's go ahead and read through this. It says, at the state level, the legislative process focuses on several primary issues. One of the most important concerns today is education and the need to promote and support an informed and engaged citizenry. Establishing minimum standards for all schools is one way Virginia's government has addressed this concern. So one important area that our General Assembly makes decisions in is education. So highlight education or underline it. Starting here, another issue is public health and the need to promote and protect the health of its citizens by, among other things, funding health benefits for those who need them. So public health is another issue of our state government. Starting here, the environment and the protection of natural resources is another critical issue for the state government. One of the ways that Virginia's government is helping the environment is by working to improve the quality of the water in the Chesapeake Bay. So the environment is another area of importance. Starting here, another responsibility of the General Assembly is to approve a biennial or 2-year state budget that has been prepared and submitted by the governor. So approving the budget is important. And then the last sentence, along with the budget work, the General Assembly is responsible for levying and collecting taxes within the state. So levying and collecting taxes is also important. All right, what you need now is a pair of scissors, something to write with, and a blank sheet of paper. So you need to get those 3 things if you do not have them. And what you're going to do is you're going to have the paper turned lengthwise, so you're going to have it hot dog style or whatever you call it. What you'll need to do then is fold it in half. And then you're going to draw 5 lines. So you're going to split this up into 5 sections. Or you're not going to draw 5 lines, you're going to draw 4 lines because you need it split up into 5 sections. So draw a line up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 lines. So now you've got 5 sections. Then what you'll need to do is take your scissors and you're going to cut not both sides of the fold, just one side. You're going to cut from the edge to the fold so that you've got a flap. But you're not cutting this bottom page. So go ahead and cut all of those. So you've got 5 flaps now. In your notes, I'm going to ask you to write some things down. You're not going to write anything on the front of these flaps. What you're going to do is, for each section, there's going to be a number, like number 1, for instance. And then there's going to be a word written beside number 1. You'll need to write that there. For number 2, there will be a word written beside that. You'll need to write it there. For number 3, there will be a word beside that. You'll need to write it there.
I could have your ticket.
Then you've got number 4, and the word beside that you'll write there, and the same thing for number 5. All right. With each section, there's going to be more information that you'll be given, so you'll need to write that here. So the things like number 1 is going to be education, I think. So anything extra that I give you about education, you'll need to write below it. Same thing for number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then once again, you're not going to write anything on the outside flaps. I'll tell you what to do with those after I get through the notes. Okay. So here is the extra information that you need to know. And we'll go through that now. Okay, so the main responsibilities of the Virginia General Assembly is what we're talking about. Okay, the first responsibility we're going to look at that the Virginia General Assembly has the ability to make laws about is education. So beside number 1 in your flip book, you need to write the word education, and then below it, you need to write this information. So a responsibility of the General Assembly is to promote and support an informed and engaged citizenry. So when it comes to funding schools, a lot of the funding is going to come from the state government, or a lot of money that is used to spend on building schools and paying teachers and buying supplies and resources. Paying for those things comes from the state government. An example of how the state government does this is by the creation or through the creation of SOLs. So Virginia has these end-of-course tests that you all have to take and you're very aware of, I'm sure, where you have to prove what you've learned throughout the year. And this is the state government's way of determining whether students are learning what they're supposed to learn or not, and a way to hold students in schools accountable for their learning. So make sure you get all that information written down on the first flap. The second area that the Virginia General Assembly has the responsibility of making laws about is public health. So the responsibility here is to promote and protect the health of its citizens. Some examples of ways that our state government does this is through distributing Medicare and Medicaid, and also by the creation or through the creation of the Virginia Department of Health. Medicare and Medicaid are health care programs that distribute or give benefits to people who are older, so 65 or older. I think they get Medicaid. And then families who can't afford to pay for health care on their own get Medicare or the Affordable Care Act. That was passed by Congress, but it is distributed through the state governments are responsible for handing out that money. The Virginia Department of Health is very important. They have many different jobs. One of them is to help vaccinate people who cannot afford to get those on their own. My son, at his year 1 appointment, had a bunch of vaccinations, and I looked at the bill, and it was about $800 worth of shots that he got at one doctor's appointment. I have health care that can pay for that, but a lot of families don't. So the Virginia Department of Health can give those vaccinations to people at a cheaper cost than what a doctor's office would give them. Something else the Department of Health does is that they monitor stores and restaurants that sell food. The next time you go into a grocery store or the next time you go into a restaurant, pay attention. In the entrance, there should be a plaque or certificate hanging somewhere that shows that that place has been approved by the Virginia Department of Health as a clean store or a clean restaurant. The Department of Health also gives restaurants like a grade, like a restaurant might get an A or a B or a C. That's showing you how clean the restaurant is. So if a restaurant isn't clean enough, they can shut it down because they're not upholding the standards set by the General Assembly and by the Virginia Department of Health. So those are ways that the state government helps to protect our health in Virginia. Another area that the General Assembly makes decisions is with the environment. So beside number 3, write environment, and on the inside of the flap, write protecting natural resources. Also copy these examples down. So an example of a way that the General Assembly protects our natural resources is through the creation of state parks. So that land is protected. They can't build houses or anything like that on the land where a state park is located. Also, bodies of water like the Chesapeake Bay, Smith Mountain Lake, those bodies of water are tested continuously, like the water is tested to make sure that it's clean and it's safe for us to swim in or, be around, so that we're not being harmed by the environment and that we are not harming the environment. So those are some ways that the General Assembly protects the environment. The next area is the budget. A budget is a plan for spending. So down here is kind of a picture of a budget. Your parents probably have one. They make a certain amount of money a month, and they have to decide how that money is going to be spent so they don't run out of money. So they have to plan to pay their electric bill. They have to plan to pay their car insurance or their homeowner's insurance or their health insurance. They have to plan to pay for gas to put in their car. They have to plan how much money they're going to spend on food, on car payments, on credit card payments, on cell phone bill payments. So all of that has to be planned out. The government has to do the same thing. They take in money through taxes. They have to make a plan for how it's going to be spent. Now, the governor makes the plan, but the General Assembly, which is what we're talking about today, has to approve the governor's plan. So in your notes, you're going to write down, approve the biennial or 2-year budget approved by the governor, or created by the governor. So the budget is approved by the General Assembly and created by the governor. So this word approved right here needs to be changed to created. Right here is a copy or just a sample of the national budget. You can pause this and look at it for a minute. It's just showing you all of the different areas where the government spends money. And this is a national budget, not a state, so it's quite a bit more money than the state would spend. But that just goes to show you how much money is spent at the national level. All right, let's look at taxes now. The General Assembly is responsible for levying, which means creating, and collecting taxes. So the government collects taxes in order to pay for the things that they provide us, like health care and schools and protecting the environment. All of that costs money. So the state government has to decide what type of taxes they're going to collect. Now, there are taxes collected at the national level and at the state level and at the local level. So that is a concurrent power, the ability for a government to tax. If you've noticed, when you go purchase things in Virginia, it costs more than what it says on the price tag. So if something costs, $10.99, you're going to pay $11 and some change for that item, because in Virginia we have a sales tax, which means a little bit extra is tagged onto everything you buy, and that little bit extra goes to our state government to pay for things that they provide for us as residents of the state of Virginia. Some states don't have a sales tax, but they have some other kind of tax that the people there have to pay. So this is just what our General Assembly decided to do in the way of taxes. So our General Assembly, once again, is responsible for creating and also collecting taxes. So get that filled in for number 5. Okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to go back to the foldable that you were working on earlier, or that you set up earlier. Let me go back to that page. Okay, and so on these outside flaps, you didn't write anything here. These should be blank. What I want you to do now is just draw a picture that represents each thing. So on the inside, it's education for number 1. So you need to draw a picture that represents education. For the last one, it was taxes that you wrote about. You need to write a picture that represents taxes. So do that for each of these. And then when you finish that, you'll need to come see a teacher so that we can check it off as being finished and complete and correct. Thank you.